Hi, this is Lisa with Queen Bee Creations, and I apologize that I'm a little bit late. I was all ready to go. I've even got next week's project done, and my computer decided it needed to reboot. I apologize. I don't even have an excuse. It just technology hates me. We all know that. I'm going to avoid crying and we're going to move forward and make an adorable card. This one's a slider card, and this is using a new bundle out of the new January to June mini catalog. It's called Sweet Conversations. It's a bundle. It's super cute. I want to remind everybody that we do the prize patrol drawing, and I apologize, I missed that last week. I totally forgot, but I've already got it all set up. It has started collecting comments, and I am ready to spin that as soon as we're done making our card, and we will pull a winner for this week. So tell me you're out there, and let's get going making this really cute card. So here we are down on my desk. And this card, you'll notice, has a little bit of a pull. And it reveals a message underneath. And so today I'm going to show you how we do that. Hi, somebody didn't give StreamYard permission, so I apologize. I don't know who's saying hello to me, but thank you for letting me know that we are indeed live and that things are working. Don't forget at the beginning that you want to give permission to StreamYard to use your name. I believe you only have to do it once, but then after that, it'll let me know who's chatting with us. Hi, Carrie, Melinda, Jamie. Thank you for joining us. We're going to be playing around with this Sweet Conversations bundle. Again, I said this was out of the new catalog. It's actually a whole suite. And a suite is where you can order everything all as one big bundle. They have this number over here at the side that orders the bundle with the stamp set and dies, the embossing folder, the little treat boxes, your embellishments, ribbon, and designer series paper, all with one number. And that guarantees that you have everything you need to make some of these really cute projects over here. You'll notice the little hearts and the little envelope they fit in. They're just really cute. But we're going to do the slider technique today. And I always try to not do too many features when we are working with something like this, because really I'm trying to teach you how to do the slider. The rest of it's fairly easy to pick up, but I want you to be able to take this slider technique and use it with any bundle that you have. And so you want to make sure that you have on hand some of our basics. In this, I'm using our layering ovals, and I'm also using our stitched rectangle dies. You will find that I use those a lot. They're very basic, and they do a lot of things. And so you want to have these in your collection. And I also wanted to show you the designer series paper that comes with it. I make these cute little swatch books to show you all the different patterns. So there's all these cute little things we can do with it, including use your dies from our die set to actually cut out hearts from the DSP. There's 3 different kinds of hearts that are going to take, cut out the hearts right out of the designer series paper. So don't forget that a lot of our dies will do that. Can't hold it still and line them up at the same time, but you get the idea. They're super useful. Remember, put in hashtag prize patrol. Don't forget that. But I'm going to turn it off so you can see my desk. Okay, so these are the stamps we're using. This is the dies that go with it. This is the Sweet Conversations bundle. For our portrait card, I'm actually going to do 2. I'm going to do a portrait and a landscape. For the portrait card, I'm using a standard card base. 8.5 by 11, cut it 5.5, scored it 4.25. Totally basic. The next layer is our standard layer, 4 inches by 5.25. There's one for the outside, one for the inside. Then I have another layer of our designer series paper, and this is 3.75 by 5. And then I took those stitched rectangle dies I was talking about, and these ones over here are a little bit longer. And so this is the one I used, and it cut that right out of the middle. And so that's going to reveal our sentiment underneath. Now you'll notice this is poking through to red. Unless I heat emboss it, we're not going to be able to see that. So I have a piece of white, and this is just 3.5 by 1.5. And what it's going to do is it's going to mount on the back so that we can see the sentiment that's going to be on there. And then I have this piece, which is 1 1/8 by about, looks like 4. And this is going to be the piece that slides back and forth. Then the layering circles I used to cut this scalloped circle, and a little tiny one. This is just for a grip on the side. And then I went ahead and stamped our heart. So that's all your pieces. Okay, now we're ready to start assembling. Again, it's really easy. We'll go at this a little slow, but I want you to know that this is totally easy. So the first layer was just added for color. This one was 2 different layers, like 2 different colors. But this one I'm doing red on red. Just to give it a little pop. And I'm going to go ahead and lay that one flat, because really my dimensionals are going to go back here. And so I'm just going to lay this about where I think it's going to go. And I don't know if you can see that, but I basically want it to hang over a little bit to cover the hole and then some. Oh, good, Susan. I'm glad we're showing you something new. I love that. Okay, so when I do that and it's a little bit hanging over, then I want to do the placement of my dimensionals. Now you can either use your regular dimensionals, and just place them across, or you can even use the edges of them. But we've also got straight strips. And so I find these really handy for this kind of thing, because this is kind of what they're made for. It's just going to lay a trough right along there. The key is that our adhesive strips like this and our dimensionals are not the same thickness. I don't know why. That's kind of odd to me, but they're not. So if you're going to use dimensionals or you're going to use the foam strips, pick one or the other and stick with it, because then they'll all be the same height. So there I just made my little trough. Like I said, this is what's going to go in there. But I want it to stick up, all the way around. So I'm going to add some down here and across the top, and maybe a little on the sides, just, a little here and there to make sure that my entire layer has a little bit of support. Now I'm not going to have to worry about the 2 sides here. That's going to be stopped by the dimensional inside, and you'll see what I mean by that in a minute. Let's just get this good and secure. So the most important thing was to just put the 2 strips above and below the opening that's wider than the piece you want to go in there, because that's what's going to hold it in place. Then we're going to take this and we're going to stick it to the, oh, no, we're not going to stick it to the front of our card. Hang on. What we're going to do is we're going to put our sentiment on here. and then it's going to go in there. Now, you'll notice when I did this, it's stacked, but our stamp is straight. So the way I did that was I came in with my ink pad and I hovered over and only inked one side. So I'm not inking the happy at all. I'm just doing Valentine's Day. And I stamped it. Now I'm going to make sure that I clean off. And I want that good and cleaned off because I don't want any kind of a halo to stick behind, because now what I'm going to do is only ink happy. And if you're worried about it, you can place another piece of paper. You can put some Scotch tape on the back. I mean, there's various things you can do if you're worried you didn't get it clean enough. But if it's clean, it's going to fit, and it's not going to give you that halo of the second words. So now I've just got Happy Valentine's Day stacked. And it's going to go in here. Okay, so that's what I was saying, that these little strips are going to catch that, and that's going to be low and attached to my card, whereas the strip is going to fit in there between them. Now, it doesn't look like much now because it slides back and forth. It can fall all the way out. But what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of round the ends a little. I just want to soften it up a little. This is our triple punch, and it has the corner rounder and this little floor thing and a hole for ribbon. And a lot of people tend to push on a corner because they want to use just the corner rounder, but you don't. You want to actually put in the middle. You want to punch all the way down, and they're all going to go down, but only the one with the paper in it's going to cut. So don't worry about that. You're going to get the best cut if you just go straight down. Then I'm going to stick this in here, and I want it, it's red on red, so it's hard to see, but I want it to where it's not going to stick out the edge. You know, I want it to hide under here. And then I'm going to put my dimensional right here. And what that dimensional is going to do is that's going to stop it. See how it hits here and it hits here? And so that way it won't go too far out and it won't come too far in. That dimensional stops it. So when I have it clear over at this side, I'm going to peel this off, and then I'm going to take my circle and I'm going to center it where I want it. My first gut reaction is you want the dimensional in the center of the circle, but that's not necessarily true, because maybe that would make it hang off too far on the edge, and we don't really want it to do that. We want it to stay, you know, within our little trough, even when the card is closed. And then there's just the little heart that goes on top. I started out with Blushing Bride in red, but I didn't like it. So I did Polished Pink and red for my heart. And then, like I said, I wanted something to, you know, we're pulling on this back and forth. I wanted something kind of grippy, you know, something that, I don't know, like the stuff on the bottom of a bathtub, you know how it grips your feet? This is going to grip your fingers as you're pulling back and forth. And it's just some of our glimmer paper. This is the new Polished Pink glimmer paper in our catalog, the mini catalog. And I just scored it in half. And then I'm going to hover it over there. And there we go. So that's all there was to it. I mean, like I said, it's, you know, it's easy. It's super easy. So because it was so easy, I'm going to be doing another one. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn it on its side. So for this one, I did the same kind of thing. I have the same layers. I have the 8.5 by 11 cut in half, scored in half. So this is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Then I have my inside layer, 4 inches by 5 1/4. I have a blushing bride, 5 1/4 by 4. Then I have another designer series paper, and it's 5 by 3 3/4. And you'll notice I have a longer thing here, but I only have the one die. And so what I did was I set it, just a little bit from the edge, and I cut out the first one. So picture this as, the solid piece of designer series paper. I put the die right here. I ran it through the machine. This piece popped out. And then I just moved it over. And I ran it through again. And that took out that part. So that's how I got the longer opening. Does that make sense? So that's going to make it turn on its side. And so because I did that, I needed a longer piece of the real red cardstock, which is going to be my slider piece. Apparently I made it too long. So I'm just going to snip this off. So this is 1 1/8 by, say, 5.5. And then this had to be a little longer too, because I'm, making it longer. So we knew that it was 1 1/2 that way, but this time I made it 4 3/4 because it's 1/4 shorter than this layer here. I don't want it peeking out the edge. I want it kind of hidden. Prize Patrol means that I'm going to do a drawing at the end and somebody's going to win a little prize that will also include the cards we're making today. But you have to type in #Prize Patrol because that's how the giveaway spinner finds it, is you give StreamYard permission to read your name, you put in the hashtag, and it's going to spin and pick a winner for me. So that's what Prize Patrol is. Okay, so this card is going to go very similar. Like I said, we want to lay this down so that it's just above and below our opening. Then I'm going to take my strips. And I'm going to lay it right above and right below. Now I don't want it to touch, but I want it to be fairly close. And I also had pointed out that you don't want to use regular dimensionals now because the regular dimensionals and these strips are different heights. Very dumb. I don't know why. It is. So I'm going to put just some more of these foam strips. And this is where I take these little ones that I've been, cutting off and just, you want to make sure that you use all of your little pieces. Okay. So now I need the little white piece that's going to go back there that's going to have our sentiment. And so you can kind of lay it down and gauge, about where you want your sentiment to go. But, about there. You probably could even stamp right down through the hole if you were really worried about placement. But we're winging it. Okay, then this is going to go onto our card base. So the directions are really pretty much the same. The measurements are a little bit different, and there's a little trick of using the stitched rectangle to make our little opening bigger. But then this is going to go on there. We might want to add a little bit of adhesive back here. Just added security since we covered up the foam strips adhesive. Okay. Then we have, like I said, our little slider is going to fit right in there. We want to make sure it doesn't poke out the end. We're going to stop it right there. So I'm going to take my dimensional and I'm going to butt it up to the edge. That's going to be my stopper on that side and on this side. I'm going to put my circle over the top of it. And, you know, I could probably actually get away with 2 because the circle's kind of big. But keep in mind that also means it's going to stop a little sooner. So maybe I don't want to do that because it didn't reveal the entire opening. So scratch that idea. It's okay that we're only over on the one side. Okay, now when I pull this over, it reveals the entire thing. Okay, that's what I wanted it to do. Now you'll notice I have a little bit extra on there. I probably could have cut this a little shorter or pulled it over a little more. But it's okay because it's all red, you know, we can see it. Matches up just fine. Then I had the little heart. This time I used Highland Heather and Gorgeous Grape. So that goes there. And then I had another one of those little glimmer paper circles, which probably you can see and I can't. But that's going to go over the edge and just give us our little thing to hold on to. So on the inside of the card, there are more options we can use. So there's these cute little X and O. I saw somebody who made a tic-tac-toe game on the front of a card and used the X and O. I thought that was super cute. I saw somebody else did a little flag using these, you know, with pink and then a heart for where the stars would go. Lots of things we can do with it. The 2-step stamping is that there's a solid and an outline for each of the 3 hearts. Actually, there's 4, right? Oh, there's 2 outlines. 3 hearts, 2 outlines on that one. And you would either stamp them one is a second generation and one is a first. So you could stamp off and then come and stamp in here. So it's a little bit lighter, but then when you went full strength for your words, it's going to show up better so you can read it. Or you can do like I did on the outside and use the a different color underneath. Works both ways. Let's see, what else do we want to put in there? These hearts come in a run of 3, and then there's a die that cuts that out as well. And I want to point out that these are a run of hearts. They're not going to cut out 3 individual hearts. It's going to cut out a strip of 3 hearts that connect, because there's no connector right there, just like there's no connector in here. So this is a short strip. This is a long strip. This strip, they're stacked on top of each other, but these are all strips. Your individuals are going to be these ones here and these loose ones. These are all your individual hearts. And also the ones that we've used on the designer series paper, which, you know, I had here. But there's also the little flag banner. Like I said, this is the one that folds into an envelope that'll hold your hearts. And then there's a tag. Okay, so let's go with happy to have you in my life. And we'll use that as our inside sentiment. Now hang out a bit because I do have next week's card and you're going to love it. If you like this one, next week's card is going to be really cool too. And I think I would probably put another heart up here. So let's switch back and clean these off. Sorry, I got my Stampin' Scrubs over there, but I want to make sure that they are clean when I change color. And then I'll probably do something really similar for the inside of our other card that we did. I'll just make that go portrait style. But we have a portrait and a landscape. And we used a few little tricks. We extended a die. And we also made a long word stamp into a stacked stamp. So a couple little tricks. Now, I promised next week's card. And this like inspiration hit me shortly before I went live. So right before I had to reboot my computer, I was throwing this card together. But this is a bundle out of our celebration brochure. So when you place a $50 order, there are all these options of things that you can choose for free. There's designer series paper, there's stamp sets. This designer series paper actually works with a bundle that's in our mini catalog, so it coordinates. We've got this beautiful marble paper. We've got our otters. For a $100 purchase, you can get those. Oh, I guess this is in our mini catalog. You know what? I'm confusing this with Tasty Trucks. Do you guys remember Tasty Trucks from a mini catalog or a celebration a couple years ago? That's what I'm confusing. Somebody asked if this was going to fit in an envelope. Probably. You would probably want to make sure. Like I said, I wanted the circle to be on there, and then I needed that to be in there. So it's a little bit long, but there is enough room that you could trim that just a touch, and then it would fit. Driving by. Best Delivery is what this one is called. But Tasty Trucks was the celebration set a couple years ago that this reminded me of. But we're going to make it move. See how it drives back and forth on the card? Isn't that cute? So that's next week's live, is we're going to make this card slide, the truck drive back and forth on our card front. And this is what we call a slimline card, and it fits in a standard business size envelope. You know, the number 10 envelope that bills come in. That's what size that goes in. We can also make a custom envelope to go with it as well. But this is the cute little stamp set out of our mini catalog that resembles Tasty Trucks from a celebration a couple years ago. So thank you for joining me. Again, last chance to make sure that you have prize patrol, hashtag prize patrol typed in, because I'm going to go over and we're going to share my screen and spin for the winner. I know it's going to look a little funny as I come over here, but here is our thing. We have 3 people entered. So I guess if you don't give StreamYard permission, it doesn't throw you in the drawing. So make sure you do that next time. But Susan Pacheco is our winner. So congratulations, Susan. Stop sharing so we can go back to this. So make sure that you go and fill out the claim form. Let me put up it's just queenbeecreations.net/prize patrol. And if you go put in your mailing address, and I'll be able to mail you your prize. So thank you for joining me. And if there's questions in there that I didn't get, I will go back and answer them in the comments. Looks like most of them I got. But thank you for joining me, and I will see you right back here on Facebook and YouTube next Monday at 2:30. Thanks for joining me. Bye.